Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'm bringing you today's video. Just had a few things I wanted to go over real fast. First, our usual shout out of appreciation to all of our patrons out there. We appreciate all those tips and support, and hope you guys are enjoying the videos that we put out for you guys exclusively every single week, including the How to Deal Craps instructional set that is ongoing. And if you're curious about it, go ahead and check the description of the video down below. And also, I wanted to go over, we've had a couple of questions about the this little neon light thing that we've been putting on some of our other videos. So if anybody's interested in one of these, just shoot us an email at sincityliving.lv@gmail.com. And so I did another test of our live stream, another attempt to do the live stream. So I now know that I have the right equipment, the right camera, the right programming, able to get all of that done. Unfortunately, what I did discover is that my computer was not strong enough, was not powerful enough to be able to encode and upload it as an actual live stream. So I'm going to continue tweaking with that, although it may turn out that I'm just going to have to wait until I can afford to buy a newer, more powerful computer for that. So that will be on the list. So it does look like live streaming may not be as upcoming as I was hoping. It's going to take us a little bit of time to generate that up. And otherwise, please make sure you email us with any questions, strategies, anything you would like us to video. We love shooting these videos for you guys. If not, I'm going to go straight into today's video. Hello YouTube, welcome to Sin City Living, a channel created entirely by full-time Las Vegas dealers. And today we are going to talk about a strategy that I've seen gaining a lot of steam lately, and that is what we call the dark side, or the don't pass and don't come. And people call it the dark side because you're playing against the point once the point is rolled. Basically, the way it works with the pass line bet, once the dice are rolled and a point is set, let's say it's the 9, this bet will win if the 9 rolls. If a 7 rolls, this bet loses. 7 being the most common number, 1 in 6 chances of it rolling, more than likely going to come. Players will place odds down. Those odds will pay depending on the number. On a 9, this would pay like blackjack, 3 to 2. Every 2 gets you 3. If it were a 10, this would pay double. Now, this also loses on a 7, of course. Everything loses on a 7. So the don't pass is going against. It's going opposite. The don't pass is saying that they think, the player thinks a 7 will roll before a 10. So a lot of players call it the dark side. A lot of dealers call it the dark side as well. One thing I want to go over before I explain a little bit more in depth about how this works. One of the things that really irritates dealers to hear is players say that the person playing the don't pass or the don't come is playing with the casino. That is patently false. It's one of the most ridiculous things that any of us have ever heard. It's simply another way of playing. It's another way of gambling on the dice. If it was actually playing with the casino, the bet would not exist. There are no bets on the table that favor the players, or in any casino game, there is no bet that favors the players. So let's discuss the don't pass. So with the don't pass, almost everything flips. So on a come out roll, when there is no point on the pass line, they're waiting for one of these numbers to roll to set the point, which basically starts the game. If it is not one of these numbers, then it is basically a win-loss condition. If it is a 7 or 11, the pass line will win. If it is a 2, a 3, or a 12, the pass line will lose. So in this particular instance, if it isn't one of these numbers setting a point, this is actually a 2-to-1 favorite to win, because there are 8 ways for a 7 or 11 to roll, while there are only 4 ways for a 2, 3, or 12 to roll. Now with the don't pass, things flip. They don't flip entirely. This is not called the don't pass bar. It is the don't pass barring the 12. It bars the 12. And what that means is that everything flips, but the 12 is exempted. So therefore, if a 7 or 11 wins here, then 7 or 11 loses here. 2, 3, or 12 loses here. 2 or 3 wins here. The 12 is barred. It's a push. Nothing happens to this bet. Which is why when we see players do this, the do-we-don't, the do and the don't, there is literally no way for this bet, for this player to win, and one way for it to lose, a 12. If 12 rolls, this would lose, this would push. Now, once the point is established, that's when the game and the fun really begins. This right here, while there is no point, this right here is the most dangerous time for the don't pass. Because if it's not one of these numbers, this bet right here is a 2-to-1 favorite to win. There's a lot of different ways for it to win versus losing. This bet right here has more odds of losing than it does winning. 8 ways for a 7 or 11 to roll for this to lose. 2 or 3, the only ways this is going to win, there's only 3 ways for those to roll. 3 out of 36. Okay. Once there is a point established, however, now this bet becomes the favorite. There is no point that is more likely to come other than a 7. 7, 1 in 6 chances. Point where 6, well, there's a 5 in 6 chance. Or not 5 in 6, I'm sorry. 1 in 6 chances for a 7 to roll. 5 out of 36. Out of the 36 ways for the dice to land, a 6 only has 5 options, while a 7 has 6. Same thing on the 8. 5 ways for this to win, 6 ways for it to lose. As you start spreading out, it changes even worse. 4 ways for this to roll, 6 ways for a 7 to come. 4 ways over here, 6 ways to lose. And then when you get to the 4 and 10, there's only 3 possible ways for a 10 to roll out of the 36 combinations of the dice. Still have 6 ways for a 7 to roll. So now it's a 2-to-1 favorite on the don't pass to win. Now, the don't pass, just like the pass line, pays even money. The players can do odds, only it's not called odds anymore. With the pass line, players put their odds behind, let's say $20. Players put their odds behind, and if the point rolls, the pass line will receive even money, and the odds will be paid based on the true odds, no house edge. So if there are 3 ways to win, 6 ways to lose, that's 1 to 2, right? So that's going to pay 1 to 2. It's going to pay double on the back, on the odds. With the don't pass, flips over. So let's say this player here wants to win $20. This player bet $20. Let's say this player wants to win $20 on their odds, which is called a lay. It's not called odds, it's called a lay over here. On the 10, seeing as how they are 2-to-1 favorite to win, they get paid half. So if this player wants to win $20, they're going to have to lay $40. A lay is placed next to the bet, and it is heeled off. That signifies that it is a lay. That is not being paid even money. It is a lay attached to this bet. It is actually against the law to add to your pass line bet, to your don't pass bet once there is a point. It's not like you're going to get arrested in most casinos. You're going to get warned, and they're going to correct it. They're going to warn you, hey, that's not allowed. That's against the rules. And then it's going to kick you off the table. But technically, here in Nevada, it is against the law. It's pass posting. It is cheating, and it would be an arrestable offense. But again, casinos aren't going to go through all that unless you're playing for a couple $1 million and trying to take them that way. In which case, yeah, then they're most likely going to have you arrested. But otherwise, they're just going to warn you, hey, that's not allowed, because most players don't realize that. With the pass line, you can always add to your bet. What you can't do is you can't take it away. With the don't pass, you can never add to the bet once there's a point, but you can certainly take it away. Now, the lay is attached to it, so you can't take this away and leave the lay. You would have to take both. Okay? But you can also make it smaller. So let's say there is no point, so you have no lay, and you've got that. And at 8 rolls, you're like, while I am favored, it's more likely for a 7 to come. There are a lot of ways for an 8 to come. I don't want to put quite that much in. You can take back some. You're always allowed to make your don't pass smaller. Reason for that is, again, right now, this bet favors you. More ways for a 7 to roll than a 8. So many more ways for you to win there than for you to lose. So of course, within the rules of the game, they're certainly going to allow you to make your bet smaller to win less. Definitely allowed. They're not going to allow you to add to it, however. Most of the house edge for this is built in to the likelihood of losing on the come out roll. Now with your lay, lays must be proper. A good dealer can pay an improper lay. A good dealer knows how to run that math. But your lays must be proper. If you slap it down as the dice are going out, they don't have time to check it, well, then the dealers are going to have to figure it out and pay you if that 7 rolls. But if the dice are still in the middle, they are going to check it. And there is a few things more frustrating to a dealer than a player that has absolutely no idea what they are doing with their don't pass and just slaps down random amounts of money and does not understand the bet. We're here to help, certainly, and we're going to tell you. But once we tell someone 4 or 5 times and they're still not catching on, it starts to get a little bit irritating because it is slowing the game down. Every time we have to stop and check your lay, if a player slaps this down as a lay, the dice are still in the middle, so we would have time to take a look at it. Now we have to stop the flow of the game. The other players have to wait while we double check to make sure and it is improper. How does the 9 pay? Well, on odds, the 9 pays 3 to 2. Therefore, it pays 2 to 3 over here. Every 3 pays 2, so this must be divisible by 3. Okay. There's a couple different ways to fix this. We could turn this into a $54 lay, give the player dollar change, or we could tell the player, drop me $2 and make it 57 if we wanted to make it a little bit more of a pain on ourselves. Or we could say drop another red down, make it $60. $60 pay 40. Easy, quick, simple, done. But it is extremely helpful if you understand the odds. On the 5 and 9, your lay must be divisible by 3. On the 6 and 8, your lay must be divisible by 6 because every 6 pays you 5. On the 4 and 10, your lay just needs to be even. Now the other thing with the lays, a lot of players will ask, what's the minimum or the maximum that I can place as a lay. The minimum gets a little bit tricky in that since lays pay less than the bet, you have to bet more to win less. The amount won must be at least the minimum bet for the table. For instance, if you're on a $10 table, then a $9 lay would not be allowed. Not because $9 is less than the table minimum, but because what it wins, the $6, is less than the table minimum. For the same reason, $12 lay would not be allowed. 12 is certainly more than 10, which is the table minimum. However, 12 would win 8 plus the flat bet. 8 is less than $10. It's less than the table minimum. So if you're on a $10 minimum bet table and you ended up on the 9 with a don't pass, your minimum lay is $15, which wins 10. This would actually be what we call a bridge, where the lay pays the same as the flat bet. And that would be your minimum lay. Now your maximum lay is going to depend on the odds. Let's say you are on a 3, 4, 5 odds table. Therefore, 4 times your flat bet on the 9 would be $40. You are allowed to therefore lay enough to win $40 because $40 would be the maximum odds allowed on a pass line bet. So you're allowed to win that much. So you could do a $60 lay. Now here's the interesting thing with the 3, 4, 5 odds. 3, 4, 5 odds that you mostly find on the strip make lays extremely easy when it comes to the maximum lay. 6 times your bet. Does not matter what the number is, 6 times your bet is the maximum lay. For instance, let's say you're on the 8. Well, 3, 4, 5 odds means that you could do 5 times your flat bet if it were a pass line bet. You could do $50 back here. So what wins $50 on the 8? $60 lay. 6 times this 10. On the 9, $40 would be the max back here. What wins $40 on a lay? $60. 6 times this bet. And over here, 3 times odds. So you could do up to 30 back there on a pass line bet. On the same flat bet for a don't pass, you can win 30. What wins 30 on a 10? $60 lay. So 3, 4, 5 tables are really, really easy for that. 10 times odds, 20 times odds, then things get a little bit trickier. But again, your maximum lay would be the most that can be put back as odds on a pass line bet. Now, what is the don't come? Don't come is just like the come bet in that it is starting a brand new game. If you put money into the don't come and it is on you to do that, this is a self-service betting area. Don't throw chips out at the dealer and say don't come. They might do it once for you or twice and say, hey, just so you know, this is a player control area. You place the bet yourself, you collect it yourself. And you keep doing it. The dealer is more than likely going to continue to put it there unless the box says something to you. But you want the dealers on your side because they will help you. They will remind you, hey, don't forget your lay over here. Hey, don't forget this bet. Hey, you forgot to bet your bet here. But if you're just taking advantage of the dealers by being lazy and not following what basically the rules of the game, they will stop helping you. They will be silent. And that's when players are like, hey, why didn't you tell me to put my odds down? No, why didn't you put your bet down where we told you to 6 times? So there's a fine line between customer service and taking care of the players and the players interrupting the game, interrupting the dealers, slowing the dealers down. It's all about the flow of the game. This is a self-service betting area. This is a self-service betting area. This is a self-service betting area. Please control your own bets. Now, what is the don't come? The don't come is starting a brand new game. So this bet right now, while there's a point, let's say the point is 9. This bet right here is the exact same as this bet is when there's no point. That's all it is. It's starting a brand new game. So if we have a point established already, the player goes into the don't come, well, they're just starting a new game. So a 7 or 11 will win, or lose, 7 or 11 loses, 2 or 3 wins, and a 12 is a push because it bars the 12. Anything else rolls, and this bet will come behind the numbers. Let's say 6 rolls. This bet will come behind the 6. Okay? Behind signifies that it is going against it. That is, it is a don't. That is betting that a 6 will not roll. Now, just like with a don't pass, don't come. Play odds. So what did we say earlier? 6 and 8 odds raised, as they're called, must always be against 6. So let's say we want to do $18. Lay $18. You will place your $18 out here, tell the dealer I want to lay the 6, and there you go. Boom. The dealer will set it up for you. You could take these down at any time. You decide, hey, I want to take that down, you can take them down. Now here's one thing that you cannot do like in other bets. You cannot say, turn my bet off. The dealer's going to hand you your bet back. You cannot say, I want to turn that off at any time. This bet is always working. Always, always, always. Let's say there's a winner 9, so we're waiting on the next point. In which case this would have lost and that one would have won. Not going to worry about that. We're just focusing on this right now. You cannot say, hey, on the come out roll, I want that off. Sorry. If you say, I want to turn my odds off, the dealer's just going to hand it back to you. All right, just take it down. If you say, I want to turn my bet off, the dealer's going to say, sure, here you go. They're going to hand it back to you. The reason being, because you cannot come in directly into a point with a flat bet. You can do what's called a direct lay that we have another video on, but you cannot come straight down onto it after a point has been established. So trying to come onto the 6 saying, I want to don't come on the 6, that's not allowed. That's the same thing as trying to come onto the don't pass after there's already a point. Not allowed. Right? You could do a direct lay, but you can't come in with a flat bet. Which is the reason why you can't turn this off. Because you can't just turn it back on. You can't just come right into the point. So that is a brief overview of the quote-unquote dark side. Again, it's not the dark side. It's not betting against the player. It's not betting with the house. It's just another way of playing the game. Another direction, another side you could come at it. It's basically the red to the black on roulette. If you're playing black and someone comes in and plays red, they're not playing against you. They're not playing with the house. They're just playing a different side. And that is it for today. We'll do a more in-depth analysis of why some players will play the don't pass and don't come, why some don't, what their thought processes are. We'll do another more in-depth analysis of this on a later video. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. YouTube, welcome to Sin City Living, channel made entirely by full-time dealers here in Vegas. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. We have a lot of content coming out every single week. And for today's episode, I want to go over a little more in-depth analysis of what's called the dark side. I'm not going to go over how it works. That was in another video. I'm just going to go over some of the thought processes behind some of the players that play this. So what I see a lot is of players that are playing the pass line bet. And as the table goes cold, there's been a lot of 7 outs, so they've lost a whole bunch of pass line bets. They start switching over to the don't pass. start switching over to the don't pass because they figure that they've been losing over there, so let's flip it around. They figure the dice are cold, let's try and go to the other side. Maybe the dice are going to favor me. It's kind of like in roulette. Let's say you've got 6 red numbers that come, so you decide, you know what, I'm going to play, I've been playing black, I'm going to switch over to red for a little while. Start playing on the red. The downsides to the don't pass, as we've covered before, way more ways to lose on a come out roll while the point is off. Way more ways to lose. 8 of the 36 combinations of dice will lose on that bet, while 3 of the combinations will win, 1 of them will push. The rest are going to set a point. Now, once there is a point set, at that point we have to understand that it now favors the player. Now, some players, when there's a 6 or 8, are going to take their bet back. A reason for that is because there are 5 ways for an 8 to roll, 6 ways for a 7 to come. So while it does still favor the player, the margin is smaller. So they get a little bit, I guess, scared and want to pull back from it. As a dealer, I tend to disagree with this. Once you have a point, you've already passed the most dangerous spot, which is the come out roll. That's the most dangerous spot. So now you are favored. So if you've got that don't pass, once there's a point, there's really no logical reason to take your bet back. This is where you were favored. This is the entire point behind betting the don't pass. Some players will put a lay down, some will not. Now, on the 6 and 8, the lay has to be in units of 6, as we've already covered. And this is one that can kind of go either way as far as the thought processes go. Some people will never lay the 6 or 8 because, again, there are a few different ways for it to come. So while it still favors the player, it's a lot smaller of a margin. Other players will only lay the 6 and 8. The reason for that being that is where they will win the most. Because with a lay, as we've discussed, you have to bet more to win less. So some players don't like to lay the 4 or 10 because they have to bet so much to win so little. At least that's how they look at it. Now the thing about the lay is it's just like the odds in that it has 0 house edge. It does not favor the house. It does not favor the player. It is true odds, exactly how the odds work based on the rolls of the dice. Pure math. So I actually know a floor that refers to lays and odds as break-even bets or 0 proposition bets, because over the course of time, nobody's going to win or lose on those. If someone were to play every hour of every day for a year, they would come really close to breaking even as far as their lays and odds go. So some people will put a lay on a 6 or 8, some people will not, depending on their mindset. 5 and 9 tends to be the middle ground. There's people that like to lay the 5 and 9 because it still pays a decent bit for how much you have to bet. Every 3 pays you 2, and it's right in there where it still favors the player at a decent clip. Other players will only lay the 4 and 10 because it has the highest chances of winning once there is a point. Now again, with that lay, 2-to-1 favorite, and it's 2-to-1 odds to roll. So, theoretically, every 2 times you win, you're going to lose at 1 time. It's going to be a break even. Again, dice is streaky. Those kind of odds only smooth out over time. Same thing occurs with the don't come. When players bet the don't come, and then it transfers to a number, whatever may roll. Some players will lay them. Some players will not. Some players will only lay at certain times, such as on a come-out roll. Like, let's say a winner 10 occurs, so this bet loses. Now the player will say, you know what, I want to go ahead and lay $30 on my don't. Some players will only lay on the come-out roll because they want to still look like they're with the rest of the players. Again, this is not betting against the table, but some people certainly do look at it that way. So they figure they want to lay it now because right now anybody playing the pass line will win on a 7. So that way that player wins and this player wins, everybody is happy. Nobody is upset. Nobody feels like they're being bet against. Everybody's a happy camper. Other players will always have a lay going all the time. Some players will never play the 6 and 8. So if they have a don't come and the 8 rolls, they're going to say no action. The dealer's going to wave it off for the cameras, and that's just going to stay there. Reason being is you can always take your bet down. So if the 8 rolls, you can say, you know what, take me down. Give it to the player, they put it back and they don't come. So by waving it off, we're just skipping a whole bunch of steps. So if the player says no action, dealer will no action to bet, and we'll move on with our lives. Some players will say no action on the 6 and 8. Cool. The dealers, as long as they are paying attention, will say, yeah, that's not a problem. And every time 6 and 8 rolls, you're just going to wave it off. They don't need any instruction from you. They will take care of it for you. Other times, some players will and won't, depending on how they feel, in which case then it has to be every single time. Dealer's going to go to move it, the player says no action, put it down, wave it off, good to go. Now there's pluses and minuses to the don'ts. As we've talked about before on the come out roll, or while you're within the square, because this is the come out roll for a brand new game, quote unquote. The come out roll is the most dangerous time for the don't pass. Once you have a point established, or once you've come behind a point if you're on the don't come, now it favors you. At this point, it's a good bet. Whether or not you decide to do a lay, entirely up to you. But your most dangerous time period is getting past the don't come. The second most dangerous time period is when you hit a hot roller. We had one last night. This guy hit 6 points. Yeah, hit 6 points plus rolled a bunch of other numbers. We did have a don't pass player that just got annihilated. He did not give up. He just kept going for it and just kept getting crushed. So one of the disadvantages to the don't pass and the don't come is on the come out roller while you're within the don't come box. Another disadvantage is with the don'ts, there is no such thing as a hot roll. You're betting that the dice are going to be cold, and you're betting that a 7 will roll, or a 2 or 3 while you're in the don't come, or on the don't pass during a come out. So you can't really do a hot roll. If you've got place bets, say you're 54 across right now, and the player is just a hot shooter. They're rolling numbers. You're pressing. And next thing you know, you've got 540 across, and you're making decent money every single roll. You can press your bets up. You can't press your bets up on the don't come or the don't pass. If you're behind the 5 and a 7 rolls, you can't say, hey, press me against the 5. It's just not, it doesn't work that way. Unless you're doing a direct lay, which we've covered in another video. It just is what it is. It pays what it pays. You move on with your life, start all over again. So there's no such thing as a hot roll on the don'ts. That's one of the disadvantages to playing the don'ts. Another one of the disadvantages to playing the don'ts isn't necessarily a disadvantage because it's the same for everybody, but the lays. Bet more to win less. Some people don't like that. It is true odds, so it's really no different than doing odds where you're betting less to win more. Because it's true odds, there's no advantage to you or against you, but some players don't like to do that. So, and some dealers as well. So some people will only do the flat bet, because the flat bet at least pays even money. And once you're behind the number, it favors you. So that's one thought process behind some people that will play back here, is they don't want to do a lay, they don't want to bet more to win less, they feel like they're wasting their money. They would rather just stick with the flat bet that at least pays even money. Another problem with the don'ts is, again, like I said, the hot rollers and what can happen during a hot roll, which is why some players have the mentality of doing a 2-point or a 3-point Molly system, which we covered in another video, where they're only going to come behind 2 or 3 points, and then they're just going to sit back, relax, and wait and see what happens. If it's a hot shooter and all their bets come down, they're going to wait till the next shooter. Other players are going to play that 2-point Molly system and just stick with those 2 points. So if they get behind 2 points, let's say they get behind the 5 and the 10, then let's say they lay them both for $30. $30, by the way, is a fantastic lay on every number because it is proper for all the numbers. So let's say they bet $30. Now they're just waiting. They only want to do a 2-point Molly, so they're just sitting back. A couple numbers roll, and then boom, a 10 rolls. 10 rolls, they are down behind, they lose that. Now the player decides they want to come back in if they don't come. They only want to be behind 2 numbers. That way they're not risking a lot in case there's a hot shooter. And if there's a lot of 7 outs, then they're going to win a decent amount. The thing about this is it's like anything else in dice. It is streaky. All things are streaky with dice. So players that play this particular method I've seen players that buy in with $100, they're playing the don'ts, next thing you know they have $400 in front of them. That is awesome. It's just like players that buy in for $100, they're playing the pass line, maybe 27 across or 54 across, and they hit a hot streak and then they have 400 or 500 in front of them. When you're up and you're up big in percentage to what you bought in for, call it a day. Take your winnings and run. The odds do not favor the players on any bet on this table. I've seen a lot of players buy in for $100, play the don'ts. Next thing you know, they've got 500 in front of them. They keep going. They might even increase their bets, figuring, hey, with $100, I want 500. So if I make my bets 5 times bigger, I might win 2,500 next time. Over time, they end up losing it. See, a lot of players buying for 100, have 500 in front of them. Next thing you know, they have 0. It's just like any other strategy within this game. If you're up, take your money and run. We like to see players win. It's really painful for us to see somebody that buys in for a couple $100, playing the don'ts, playing the pass line, playing come bets or playing place bets, win decent, win big, get up a few hundred up or even 1,000 up, and then give it all back over the next couple of hours. If you're up, take it. You won. You beat the odds. Enjoy your money. Or at least give yourself a backstop. Say, you know what? I bought in for 100. I'm up to 500 right now. I'm only going to play 200 more. I'm going to make sure if I get down to 300, I'm going to walk away. Give yourself a backstop. Keep enjoying the game, but make sure that you've got a backstop so you still win money. So that's a little bit more of an analysis on the don'ts, so why players will play it, how they may play it, what they may do. Thank you for watching, YouTube. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we will catch you next. So, as I promised, I wanted to go over very briefly our upcoming attempts at a third test live stream. So what's happened so far? The first test live stream just flat didn't work. The problem that I had was was an equipment problem. I had an equipment problem in that the equipment that I was using to translate the camera into streamable video to the computer required a better USB port than the computer I was using at the time. So that one just flat failed because it would not translate into the computer. The computer would not pick it up, would not read it, so I wasn't able to live stream it. So then, as I was looking through, because I'm a little bit of a tech head, as I was looking through all of my other stuff, because I do have 4 laptops here and 3 computers, I did find one that actually did have the newer style USB port. Unfortunately, it was actually my oldest laptop, but I figured, what the heck, let me give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? And this time around, when I fired everything up, the video was actually translating onto the computer, so things were looking better. But then when I attempted to live stream, the computer was not powerful enough to be able to translate it and then upload it sufficiently. So it basically just uploaded a blank screen for the live stream. So what I am going to have to do is, and I'm already looking into all of my options, I'm going to upgrade my computer so I can add, what, a 7th, 8th computer to my household. And I'm going to go much, much higher, and I'm going to get a computer that is far more than I need for this, far, far, far more powerful than I need for this. That way, any future upgrades that I may do, the computer will be able to handle it. So unfortunately, this computer is going to cost me about 25% more, about 25% of what I've already laid out in all the equipment for this channel. So it wasn't something I could just instantly buy. I'm probably looking at Black Friday or Cyber Monday. So hopefully I have it within the next couple of weeks, and then I'll do another test live stream and see if I can go from there. So I will definitely do at least one weekly live stream on our Patreon because they're the ones that are really helping us get this computer. And the other equipment that I'm going to get, because I figure if I'm buying the computer, I might as well buy the most high-end capture cards and things along those lines, get everything as good as possible, and then hopefully eventually get a better microphone for you guys. So yeah, that's where we stand on the live stream. As soon as I have the computer and I do the test, which will be in a few weeks, like I said, got to order it in a week or two, then I have to wait for it to ship. Plus we have probably the biggest event of the year coming up, the NFR National Finals Rodeo. So I'm basically working 2 weeks straight, as is my wife. So not going to have a whole lot of time. But once we get all that under control, then we'll figure out. There's been some schedule changes to myself, some schedule changes to my wife, and some upcoming schedule changes to my wife as well. So hopefully we can get all the scheduling figured out so I know when I'll be able to live stream as well. My initial plan of Thursdays at 6 o'clock is already out the window. I'm at work at that point now. So we will get it all figured out, and we will let you guys know, I promise. And otherwise, I hope you guys have found this interesting, enlightening, illuminating, or at least just plain fun. And we will catch you guys next time. Bye now.